You will be shocked by your trading results after watching this video, because I'll show you one key action that once helped me finally start making money on Forex. We are currently overwhelmed with information, and this prevents you from making the right decisions and finding a great trade. Trust me. In over 5 years of successful trading, all my most profitable trades were very simple. There are many opportunities, but you don't see them, because your head and charts are overloaded with technical analysis patterns, Elliott wave theory, and a bunch of different indicators. I will show you a couple of trades that brought me over 6,000 and explain the strategy so that you can repeat the result. So now I will tell you a step-by-step algorithm for opening potentially profitable positions. What do we need? First, I'm now in the TradingView terminal, and this terminal will help us a lot today with analytics and opening trades. First, you need to add this wonderful indicator called high and low or custom session. It is very easy to add. Go to the indicators section and type in its name. Then add this indicator, which has 3,000 users. I have already added, so all you have to do is configure it. To configure it, set the universal time, UTS plus 0, and the session time to almost the entire day, except for the last 5 or maybe 15 minutes. So you can set either 23:55 or 23:45. We need this so that when we turn on the indicator on time frames such M5 or M15, we can see the boundaries between certain days. Otherwise, everything will merge into one rectangle, and we don't need that. Now I'm switching to a 5-minute time frame, and in fact, this rectangle, which we are seeing right now, has a certain maximum and a certain minimum. We will use just one rectangle today to open good profitable positions. Trust me, you may think that this is crazy and that it doesn't work and is long outdated, but I will now demonstrate you how I earned more than 6,000 on just 2 trades using this strategy. So look, we are now modeling a situation in which a new day is beginning, so the price is now at the upper limit of this rectangle, that is, at the previous day's maximum. So let's see what will happen with the price now. So guys, we are now approaching the upper border. That is, we have actually already updated the previous day's maximum. I'm sure that many of you seeing such a growth chart will want to continue trading exclusively on the rise, because many people tell us, friends, do not trade against the trend, and so on and so forth. But specifically in this situation, I see that the trend has long since turned flat. I mean, we have another rectangle here, which already has its own internal boundaries, but I will remove it for now. The only thing I'm waiting for here is some kind of confirming factor that we have a false breakout here. I know that breakout is a very popular term in trading lately. There are many videos on this topic, but the fact is, my friends, none of you can ever truly determine whatever this breakout is false or not. I see one thing, we have removed liquidity from this maximum. A lot of traders who were now trading downwards lost their money on the stop losses on this moment. And on the contrary, in this situation, I am only going to enter a short position with a stop at the maximum and with some fairly obvious goal, for example, to cover this imbalance. I have a good trade which can easily pay off very quickly, because the price will already be moving towards the lower limit. Never trade in the middle. You have a huge space. This is the maximum and minimum of the previous day. The minimum, on the contrary, is here, and this is the target, the next target of our decline. I don't recommend trading here because the strength of buyers and sellers is unclear. I only enter into obvious trades. And obvious trades occur when we have a certain dominance of buyers or sellers in the stock market, because we are now at the upper limit. Here we were at the upper limit. I understood that a huge number of people will sell here, so the dominance of sellers in this place is obvious, and this cannot but lead to such a fall. The same thing is happening here. You would definitely want to buy at this place, at this level. This is where buyer dominance is at its peak. And you would want to be a buyer here, not a seller. I really going to try to trade down here even after a breakdown. That's suicide. Why do that when we have obvious zones where you only need 5 minutes a day to place your position? Either you trade down at the upper limit or you trade up to the lower limit. There is absolutely no other option. Some time has passed, of course, at least since the previous day we have not updated, but we have formed new boundaries for the new day. Now I can probably remove the old horizontal lines, they are no longer relevant to us. We have a new level at the top and a new level at the bottom. Accordingly, when we come to one of these zones, I know exactly what to do. And now I can show you a couple of trades that of course had signals in my exclusive channel. These couple of trades brought me more than 6,000 in profit. And they were very obvious, so now I will analyze them so that you can repeat after me. Well, let's move on to analyzing the first trade using this strategy. By the way, I send a signal for this trade on my Telegram channel. I will leave a link to the channel in the description, so you can copy my trades if you want it. So, with the help of the indicator, we can immediately see the upper limit, that is the maximum of the previous day, and the lower limit, that is the minimum of the previous day. Everything is clear here. Next, at this point, I understand that there is no point in opening a trade at all. We are waiting for either an approach to the upper limit or an approach to the lower limit. So at this point we will pause because I noticed that the chart has come close to the buyer's zone, and last time the buyers didn't allow the price to fall below it after such a downward trend. That is, we have a certain buyer zone here, and we are paying attention to factors that may indicate the beginning of growth. Here, of course, I see a trend line which we can overcome. And right now we have already overcome it. And there is also the most important factor here, which is the bullish engulfing pattern. Here we have a green candle absorbing all the previous declines. So of course I'm looking for a long position from the lower border. I turn on the imbalance zone indicator. You can also add it simply by its name, and we see uncovered imbalance zones that we need to cover. Here is the first target in this zone, which has not been traded, and we adjust our stop loss depending on the risk to profit ratio. If you are a beginner, I don't recommend taking 1 to 3 trades. You can safely take 1 to 2 trades or even less. All this is to ensure that your win rate is as high as possible, that you close many trades in profit, and that your confidence grows, which is the most important thing. We're seeing a fairly quick payoff here, and this trade brought me such a profit. You could have copied this absolutely free, either manually or automatically. To access this channel, just follow the link in the description. So let's take a look at the second signal now. I'll say right away that unfortunately this trade didn't go quite according to plan, but I'll show you how to work with it correctly, because even from the current signal I was able to make such a profit. Now I'll show you how it happened. We are approaching the upper limit once again. And in this case, we're updating this upper limit and forming a beautiful pattern that tells us about a further decline. Here, of course, I open a short position. We have an almost formed evening star pattern here, which is a candlestick pattern consisting of 3 Japanese candlesticks. I turn on the imbalance zone indicator in order to set the target of our movement here, and depending on this target, set a stop so that my trade is approximately 1 to 2 or 1 to 1.7. I think this is a normal ratio, especially if you are a beginner, and we will see what happens next. We have a small downward movement on which I always try to move the trade to break even, as I also wrote about in my Telegram channel. Unfortunately, after some time our trade closes at the stop loss at break even. We are not losing anything. On the contrary, I am watching how a new wave of growth is developing. But I understand perfectly well that we are in the seller's zone here, and most likely there will be no growth after a long retest. Please note that we are constantly moving along the trend line, and after breaking through this trend line, I'm already entering into a second trade, because I was knocked out of the first one. We have a breakout and retest of this zone, and of course here I'm opening a position on a decline with a more modest target. We need to at least update this local minimum that we have formed, because from this minimum we have a new wave of growth. I can safely move the stop further away so that it is at least 1 to 2, and we are watching a great trade that is paying off quite quickly. I think that absolutely all of you would like to copy this position. I remind you that I allowed you to copy trades from my account either manually or automatically, so just write to me if you want to repeat the trade and spend only 15-20 minutes a day on profitable Forex trading. My friends, thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked my rectangle strategy. This strategy has been publicly available for a long time, but for some reason very few people use it, although it can really bring you very good result if you don't complicate your life with various fancy indicators. Thank you for watching. All links are in the description. See you soon.